Picture this. A sun-kissed reality TV star steps off a plane from Dubai. Designer bags in hand, million-dollar watch glinting on her wrist. She's living the dream that millions chase: fame, luxury, endless possibilities. But hidden beneath those perfectly curated Instagram posts and glamorous lifestyle lies a secret so dark, so twisted, that it would make international headlines and destroy everything she'd built. This is the story of Magdalena Sadlo, a woman who traded the Love Island villa for something far more dangerous, sand far more lucrative. A woman who became the financial mastermind behind a £53 million drug empire that stretched from the glittering towers of Dubai to the grimy streets of Manchester. But how does a reality TV star become the architect of an international criminal conspiracy? How does someone with everything to lose risk it all for something so deadly? And what happens when the walls finally close in? Stay with me, because this story will take you on a journey through deception, greed, and the ultimate price of ambition. This is the chilling tale of how paradise became prison. Let's rewind to a time when Magdalena Sadlo's biggest concern was which bikini to wear on national television. The year was different, the world was watching, and she was living every young woman's dream, basking in the Spanish sun on Love Island, surrounded by cameras, attention, and the intoxicating taste of fame. But even then, there were whispers. Fans noticed something different about Magdalena. While other contestants worried about finding love or surviving the next elimination, she seemed calculating. Her Instagram captions weren't just inspirational, they were prophetic. "Success looks good on me," she'd write, accompanied by photos that screamed luxury and mystery. "Some people hustle for a weekend. I hustle for a legacy." At the time, followers thought it was just another influencer speaking in motivational quotes. They had no idea they were reading the manifesto of someone who would soon orchestrate one of the most sophisticated drug trafficking operations in recent British history. The transition from reality TV to real crime didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, methodical, and brilliantly disguised as the lifestyle of a successful social media personality. Because who would suspect that those frequent trips to Dubai posted about, actually, something far more sinister? Dubai, the city of gold, where millionaires are made and questions aren't asked. For Magdalena, it became more than just a vacation destination. It became her second home, her sanctuary, and ultimately, her gateway into a world that existed in the shadows of legitimate business. The trip started innocently enough. Social media showed her shopping in the world's most exclusive boutiques, dining at restaurants where a single meal cost more than most people's monthly salary, and networking with individuals whose wealth seemed to have no visible source. But intelligence agencies were watching. They noticed patterns that the public couldn't see. Magdalena wasn't just vacationing, she was learning. Each trip to Dubai was a masterclass in money laundering, drug trafficking, logistics, and international criminal finance. What authorities would later discover was that Magdalena had been recruited by a sophisticated Middle Eastern syndicate that specialized in flooding European markets with high-purity cocaine, cannabis, and ketamine. But they didn't want just another mule or street-level dealer. They wanted someone with intelligence, connections, and most importantly, someone who could hide in plain sight. They wanted someone exactly like Magdalena. Her public persona was perfect cover. A reality TV star with a legitimate reason to travel internationally, to spend large amounts of money, and to maintain an expensive lifestyle. Who would suspect that behind those designer sunglasses and champagne toasts, she was memorizing drug prices, studying supply chain logistics, and learning how to move millions of pounds without triggering financial investigations? This is where the story takes a truly chilling turn, because Magdalena wasn't content to be just a well-paid participant in someone else's criminal enterprise. She had bigger ambitions. She wanted to run the show. And that's exactly what she did. Court documents would later reveal that Magdalena had transformed herself into what prosecutors called the business brain of the entire operation. She wasn't just taking orders, she was giving them. She wasn't just moving drugs, she was revolutionizing how the entire network operated. Think about this for a moment. While most criminal organizations operate in chaos, with poor record-keeping and constant paranoia, Magdalena brought corporate precision to international drug trafficking. She maintained spreadsheets that would make Fortune 500 companies jealous. Profit margins calculated to the penny on cocaine kilos. Ketamine wholesale prices compared against street values across different UK cities. Stock levels tracked across multiple distribution points. Logistics routes mapped and optimized to minimize law enforcement detection. This wasn't your typical criminal operation. This was business school methodology applied to billion-dollar narcotics trafficking. But perhaps most disturbing was how she compartmentalized her double life. During the day, she might be posting Instagram stories about her morning yoga routine or her latest fashion haul. By evening, she could be coordinating the movement of 30 kilograms of cocaine through Manchester's underground networks. The psychological profile that emerges is of someone who didn't just stumble into crime, someone who embraced it, refined it, and ultimately perfected it. Running a drug empire from spreadsheets is one thing, but Magdalena's operation required something more dangerous: physical involvement in trafficking operations that could result in decades in prison if caught. This is where her story becomes truly terrifying, because Magdalena didn't just coordinate from a distance. She got her hands dirty. Intelligence agencies discovered that she had masterminded what they called whistle-stop tours, high-speed drug trafficking runs, using luxury BMWs that could move hundreds of kilograms of narcotics across England in a single trip. These weren't amateur operations. They were military-precise logistics exercises that required split-second timing, perfect coordination, and nerves of steel. Picture this scene: a quiet residential cul-de-sac in Manchester. Families are having dinner, children are playing in gardens, and life is proceeding normally. Then a sleek BMW pulls up, and out steps Magdalena Sadlo, looking like she belongs in a fashion magazine rather than a drug deal. She's carrying what appears to be a gym bag, but that bag doesn't contain workout clothes or protein shakes. It contains 33 kilograms of pure cocaine, worth millions of pounds on the street. Surveillance footage captured these moments: Magdalena moving with confidence, professionalism, and a calmness that suggested this was just another day at the office. She had overseen at least 7 major trafficking runs, moving nearly 300 kilograms of cocaine in total. Each operation was planned with the precision of a military campaign: rental cars to avoid tracking, safe houses positioned at strategic intervals, burner phones replaced after every operation. Routes changed constantly to avoid establishing patterns that law enforcement could detect. But every criminal, no matter how careful, eventually makes a mistake. And Magdalena's mistake was thinking she was untouchable. While Magdalena was building her empire, law enforcement was building a case. Operation Matrix, the code name for the investigation that would bring down her entire network, had been running for months, involving multiple agencies across several countries. They were tracking everything: financial transactions, flight patterns, communication intercepts, and physical surveillance that painted a picture of criminal activity on an unprecedented scale. The breakthrough came in February 2024. Border agents at Manchester Airport flagged a routine return flight from Dubai. The passenger manifest showed Magdalena Sadlo, reality TV personality, returning from what appeared to be another luxury vacation. But this time, they were ready. When Magdalena stepped off that plane, she was carrying nearly £200,000 worth of undeclared luxury goods: a £130,000 Patek Philippe rose gold watch, a £30,000 Rolex, designer clothing worth tens of thousands more. Her luggage told a different story than her Instagram posts. Hidden among the designer clothes were receipts that couldn't be explained, burner phones that connected to encrypted networks, and cash that had no legitimate source. The arrest was swift and decisive. The woman who had spent years evading detection was finally caught, not by sophisticated surveillance or undercover operations, but by basic customs enforcement. But the arrest was just the beginning, because now authorities had access to everything: her phones, her records, her contacts, and most damaging of all, her detailed documentation of years of criminal activity. What happened next reads like a thriller novel, except it's all true. Magdalena's arrest sent shockwaves through both legitimate and criminal circles. How could someone so high-profile, so visible, be so deeply embedded in international drug trafficking? The answer, as investigators discovered, was both simple and terrifying. She wasn't a victim of circumstances. She was the architect of her own criminal empire. The evidence was overwhelming. Investigators presented spreadsheets. She had maintained some in code, some boldly explicit. Audio recordings revealed her giving detailed instructions to subordinates on money laundering techniques, drug pricing strategies, and how to convert street-level sales into tax-free Dubai luxury purchases. She had helped move tens of millions of pounds worth of drugs through the UK, but perhaps more damaging than any single transaction was her institutional knowledge. She understood the entire ecosystem: how to move money quietly, how to convert criminal proceeds into legitimate assets, how to maintain operations even when individual components were compromised. The court proceedings revealed the true scope of her operation. Over £53 million worth of trafficking, coordination with overseas crime bosses, leadership in laundering criminal profits across multiple jurisdictions. When the judge delivered his verdict, his words carried the weight of moral authority. This was not a lapse in judgment. It was a sustained campaign of criminal activity motivated by greed. You helped mastermind a drug empire and must now face the consequences. 14 years in prison. The gavel came down, and Magdalena Sadlow's transformation was complete. From reality TV star to convicted criminal mastermind, she didn't cry, she didn't plead, she simply nodded. Perhaps understanding that this was the inevitable conclusion of choices made years earlier. But Magdalena's story doesn't end with her sentencing, because her arrest was just the beginning of a much larger collapse. Operation Matrix didn't just target one individual, it dismantled an entire network. 13 people connected to the trafficking web were arrested and convicted. Their combined prison sentences totaled more than 140 years. A generation of criminals removed from the streets. With Magdalena gone, investigators could dismantle additional layers of the operation. Assets were seized. Front companies were dissolved. International accounts were frozen. The criminal empire that had seemed so sophisticated and untouchable crumbled within months. Dubai, once considered an untouchable sanctuary for international criminals, suddenly found itself under intense scrutiny. Magdalena's conviction proved a chilling truth. Even the most beautiful facades can hide monstrous machines beneath. As we reflect on this story, the most disturbing aspect isn't the drugs or the money or even the sophisticated criminal operations. It's the transformation of a human being. Magdalena Sadlow had everything that millions of people dream of: fame, attention, opportunities that most could never imagine. She could have leveraged her reality TV success into legitimate business ventures, endorsement deals, or media careers. Instead, she chose a different path. She chose power over popularity, risk over security, and wealth at any cost over wealth through legitimate means. Her Instagram captions, once seen as motivational quotes, now read like coded confessions. Success looks good on me. But at what cost? Some people hustle for a weekend, hustle for a legacy of crime and incarceration. Her story serves as a haunting reminder that in the age of social media and instant fame, image means nothing if the foundation is built on corruption. Magdalena had fame, attention, and opportunity, but chose to weaponize these advantages in service of criminal ambition. Today, she sits in a prison cell, stripped of the luxury lifestyle that once defined her public persona. The designer clothes have been replaced by prison uniforms. The champagne toasts have been replaced by institutional meals. The adoring fans have been replaced by the cold reality of criminal justice. Her name will be remembered not for love, laughter, or the fleeting fame of reality television, but for betrayal, deception, and ambition twisted into darkness. She went from Love Island to criminal empire, from the glow of reality TV cameras to the gray walls of a prison cell, from paradise to prison. Her story serves as a warning that even those who shine the brightest can cast the darkest shadows, that the pursuit of easy money and criminal power ultimately leads to the destruction of everything that matters. And in the end, she lost everything. But here's the terrifying truth. Magdalena Sadlow's story is just the tip of the iceberg right now. In penthouses and private jets around the world, there are others living double lives. Socialites who are money launderers, influencers who are drug kingpins, celebrities who are criminal masterminds. The secret world of modern organized crime is more sophisticated, more glamorous, and more dangerous than ever before. What other reality TV stars are hiding billion-dollar criminal empires? Which Instagram influencers are actually running international trafficking operations? And how many more Magdalena Sadlows are out there, hiding in plain sight behind designer sunglasses and champagne toasts? Welcome to Inside the Secret World of Mafia Titans, where we expose the hidden criminal empires of the rich and famous, where we reveal how modern organized crime operates in the shadows of legitimate celebrity culture, where we show you the shocking truth about who really controls the world's most dangerous criminal networks. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because next week, we're diving deep into the story of a Hollywood Alistair who secretly ran a money laundering operation worth over $200 million. You'll recognize the name. You'll be shocked by the truth. Drop a comment below. Do you think there are more celebrity criminals hiding in plain sight? What other reality TV stars do you think might be living double lives? New episodes every Tuesday, uncovering the titans who rule from the shadows. Because in the secret world of mafia titans, the most dangerous criminals aren't the ones you'd expect. They're the ones you'd never suspect.